If you're a man over 60 and you've noticed your mornings feel different, less energy, weaker stiffness, maybe no response at all, it's not your imagination, and it's not just age. What I'm about to tell you may shock you, but it could change everything about your vitality. Because the real reason you're struggling down there may not be in your hormones, your heart, or even your brain. It might be in your breakfast. That first meal of the day could be silently choking the blood flow to your manhood, and most men don't even realize it until it's too late. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera. I've spent over 30 years helping men restore their strength, circulation, and confidence naturally. And what I've seen time and time again is this. Once a man in his 60s begins the right morning routine, his entire system wakes up, his energy, his mood, and yes, his erections. In this video, I'll reveal the surprising food, a specific nut, that unlocks circulation to the lower body like nothing else. It's simple, inexpensive, and backed by science. Most men walk past it every week at the grocery store, not knowing the power it holds. And before we're done, I'll also show you the one common breakfast mistake that's blocking thousands of men from ever feeling firm again, no matter how many pills they take. So stay with me, because the answer isn't complicated. In fact, it might already be in your kitchen. Before we dive in, if you're serious about restoring your strength, circulation, and confidence after 60, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell, so you never miss a tip that could change your mornings forever. And if you find this video helpful, just type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, so I know how to better support your health journey. Alright, let's get into it, because the first thing we need to talk about is the hidden damage happening right at your breakfast table. Most men over 60 are unknowingly eating foods that silently restrict blood flow to the penis, and that morning mistake could be the root of everything you're feeling. 1. Why your morning meal may be damaging. Blood flow to your penis. I still remember the first time a patient asked me, "Doc, how come I'm doing everything right, but things still don't work in the morning?" He was 64, healthy weight, walked every day, didn't smoke. And yet, he couldn't remember the last time he woke up feeling like a man. I asked him what he ate for breakfast. He looked confused, then said, "Just cereal, maybe toast, some mornings, pancakes." That moment changed how I viewed the relationship between food and function. You see, most men over 60 think their performance issues are hormonal. And yes, testosterone plays a role, but more often, it's circulation. Specifically, it's poor blood flow caused by years of starting the day with foods that trigger inflammation, spike blood sugar, and constrict the very arteries responsible for getting you firm. Sugary cereals, white toast, processed breakfast meats. These are staples in the American morning, but what they do inside your body is quietly devastating. They stiffen the arterial walls, thicken your blood, and reduce nitric oxide, the gas that helps open blood vessels. And the first place to suffer? The smallest arteries in your body, the ones in your penis. Over time, what used to be reliable, full, and responsive becomes sluggish, unreliable, absent. And the worst part? No one talks about this. Your doctor may mention cholesterol or blood pressure, but rarely does he ask, "What are you eating at 8 a.m.? It's like trying to start a fire every morning with wet wood. You want heat, but the fuel is wrong. The good news, just as food can damage, the right food can heal. In fact, there's one simple, natural food, a nut you've probably walked past 100 times, that can start reversing this pattern in just days, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Because this little powerhouse could be the key to waking up feeling like your old self again. 2. The number one nut that rebuilds blood flow down there, walnuts. Let me tell you something I wish more men knew sooner. Nature has already given us many of the tools we need to heal. The problem is, we've forgotten how to use them. We chase pills, gimmicks, and complicated solutions, when sometimes the answer is sitting quietly in a wooden bowl on the kitchen counter. That answer, for many of my patients, has been the walnut. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Doctor, a nut? How's that going to fix what I'm dealing with? And I get it. Walnuts don't scream masculinity or performance. They don't promise miracles on TV commercials. But inside this humble little shell is a powerhouse of circulation-enhancing nutrients, specifically L-arginine. L-arginine is an amino acid that your body uses to produce nitric oxide, the very molecule responsible for relaxing and opening up your blood vessels. Without enough of it, your blood can't reach the places it needs to. But when levels are high, you may begin to feel more pressure, more fullness, and more confidence. Naturally. I had a patient named Greg, 68 years old, who hadn't had a reliable erection in almost a year. I asked him to start eating 7 to 10 walnut halves each morning, along with water and a bit of movement. Just that. 2 weeks later, he walked into my office smiling like a teenager. "Doc," he said, "it's coming back, and I didn't take a single pill." That's the power of feeding your body what it actually needs. Walnuts also bring in omega-3s, magnesium, and plant sterols that support heart health, reduce inflammation, and even balance hormones. And when you give your arteries what they crave, they reward you with flow. Real, lasting, reliable flow. But walnuts don't work in isolation. They're part of a system, a morning rhythm that reboots circulation. So now that you know what to eat, let me show you exactly what to do each morning to turn this into a habit your body will thank you for. 3. How blood flow works in men over 60 and where it fails. One of the most eye-opening lessons I've learned in over 3 decades of men's health is this. The penis is not just a sexual organ, it's a circulatory signal. It often tells us what's happening in your arteries long before your heart or brain ever do. I've had patients with clean EKGs, perfect cholesterol scores, and no chest pain, yet they couldn't maintain an erection. Why? Because the arteries in the penis are tiny, much smaller than the ones leading to your heart. So they're often the first to clog, the first to stiffen, the first to send you a warning sign that something deeper is going wrong. And for men over 60, this happens more often than you think. As we age, our blood vessels begin to lose flexibility. Years of sugar, stress, processed food, and lack of movement begin to take their toll. Inflammation builds. The inner lining of the arteries, what we call the endothelium, starts to break down. And the nitric oxide that once surged through your bloodstream like a river slows to a trickle. You might not feel it right away, but you'll notice it where it matters most. Your morning wood disappears. Your response time slows. You feel disconnected, like something is missing, and you can't quite explain what. It's not your fault. This decline is silent, gradual, but it is also reversible. I want you to see your circulation like a tree. If the trunk is weak and the roots are blocked, the branches won't bloom. You can't expect life and strength at the edges if the flow at the base is compromised. But just as circulation declines with time, it can be restored with intention. You already know what to eat. Now, let me show you how to build a simple morning routine that actually triggers this blood flow and gets everything moving again. Because healing isn't just about food, it's about rhythm. 4. Walnuts versus pills. The science of natural nitric oxide boosters. Over the years, I've watched hundreds of men walk into my office holding prescriptions in their hands, hope in their eyes, doubt in their voices. They tried everything: the blue pills, the injections, the over-the-counter boosters. Some worked temporarily, most didn't, and nearly all of them came with a cost: side effects, dependency, or that nagging feeling that you were forcing something that should come naturally. That's why I always bring it back to the basics, back to what your body understands, back to what your blood vessels are actually built to respond to. And when it comes to improving blood flow, few things are more effective and more natural than nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the silent hero in male performance. It's the molecule that signals your arteries to relax, to open, to allow blood to flow exactly where it's needed. Without it, no pill will work. With it, your body comes back to life, and that's exactly where walnuts come in. Each morning dose of walnuts gives you a steady supply of L-arginine, the amino acid your body uses to make nitric oxide. But it doesn't stop there. Walnuts are also loaded with magnesium, which supports healthy blood pressure, and plant-based omega-3s, which keep the endothelium, the lining of your arteries, soft, flexible, and responsive. And here's what makes the difference. It's not just about getting hard, it's about staying hard naturally, with no pressure spikes, no headaches, and no artificial rush. That's what happens when you work with your biology instead of against it. I remember telling a patient, "You're not broken, you're just undernourished." And the moment he believed that, his healing began. So the question now becomes, how do you turn this natural solution into a reliable habit, something you can do every morning without effort, without confusion? That's exactly what we'll walk through next, and I promise, it's simpler than you think. 5. Meet Thomas, 67, the morning that changed his life. I'll never forget the morning Thomas walked into my office. He was 67, shoulders a little hunched, voice quiet, and eyes that looked tired, not just physically, but emotionally. He sat down and said, "Doc, I just don't feel like a man anymore." He wasn't angry. He wasn't hopeless. He was just tired of pretending. Thomas had been married for over 40 years, a proud father, a former contractor, the kind of guy who'd always provided. But behind closed doors, something had shifted. He hadn't had a solid morning erection in over 8 months. Intimacy felt awkward. He avoided eye contact with his wife, not because there was no love, but because there was shame. We talked, like two men, not just doctor and patient. I asked him to do one thing. Every morning, eat a small handful of raw walnuts, 7 to 10 halves, alongside a glass of warm water and a few minutes of movement. That was it. No pills, no pressure, just a small, consistent change. 2 weeks later, he came back. And the difference was striking. He was standing taller, his eyes were brighter. He smiled and said, "Doc, I woke up hard this morning for the first time in months. My wife noticed, and I didn't even say anything. She just smiled back." That's the power of returning to something real. Walnuts didn't just improve his blood flow, they gave him a sense of control again. And with that came dignity, connection, and a renewed sense of vitality. This is what I want for every man who watches this. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel alive. And it starts with these quiet victories, just one morning at a time. Now, if you're ready to experience results like Thomas, I want to walk you through the exact morning plan I gave him, step by step. Because when the routine is right, your body remembers exactly what to do. 6. The morning power routine, your circulation reboot plan. There's something sacred about the first hour of the morning. It sets the rhythm for your entire day, and if you're over 60, it can set the rhythm for how your body performs, how your blood flows, and how confident you feel in your own skin. I've seen it too many times to count. A man walks in frustrated, thinking he needs a miracle, but what he really needs is a routine. When I gave Thomas his morning plan, I wasn't just giving him nutrition advice. I was helping him reclaim control over the first thing he does each day. And that made all the difference. So here's what I recommend to my patients, and what I'd like you to try. Within 30 minutes of waking up, start by eating 7 to 10 raw walnut halves, not candied, not roasted in oil, just plain, clean walnuts. Follow that with a glass of warm water with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of mineral salt. It hydrates your blood, supports adrenal balance, and helps your arteries open up. Next, move your body for 5 minutes. Walk around the house, stretch your spine, breathe deeply into your belly. That movement gets your circulation going before you ever reach for coffee or food. And then, only then, eat a light, clean breakfast. A boiled egg, half an avocado, a bit of spinach with olive oil. Keep it simple, whole, and unprocessed. This routine doesn't just nourish your body. It tells your system, I'm here, I care, I'm choosing vitality today. And the more consistently you do it, the more your body listens. But there's something else you should know, something that could sabotage everything you've just built. Most men make this one mistake at breakfast that shuts down their blood flow and silently steals back their progress, and it's far more common than you think. Let's talk about that next. 7. More than erections. 5 other benefits of walnuts for men over 60. When I talk to my patients about walnuts, they often assume I'm only thinking about performance. And yes, that's a huge part of it. But what surprises most men is how much more they begin to notice once they make this one small change. Because the truth is, when blood starts flowing again, everything starts waking up. Not just in the bedroom, but in your entire life. One of my patients, Ron, a 71-year-old retired school principal, started with walnuts because he wanted stronger erections. But after 3 weeks, what he couldn't stop talking about was how much clearer his thinking had become. "Doc," he said, "I used to walk into rooms and forget why. Now, I feel sharp again." That's not coincidence. Walnuts are rich in polyphenols, natural compounds that support brain function and protect neurons. They've even been studied for their effects on age-related memory decline, but the benefits go far beyond the brain. They support your heart with omega-3 fatty acids that help lower LDL cholesterol and reduce inflammation. They help regulate mood, thanks to magnesium, which calms the nervous system and balances stress hormones. They assist with natural testosterone production, thanks to zinc and plant sterols. And yes, they even support prostate health, reducing inflammation and easing pressure on the urethra. You start eating walnuts for one reason, and suddenly you're sleeping better, thinking clearer, feeling more emotionally grounded. It's not magic, it's just biology finally getting the support it needs. When your circulation improves, your entire body gets the message. It's safe to perform again, safe to feel again, safe to come alive. But all of this can fall apart, sometimes within days, if you make one critical mistake. And unfortunately, most men make it every single morning without realizing it. So before you go any further, let me show you what not to do. Because this one habit might be cutting off your progress at the root. 8. The one breakfast mistake that blocks all your progress. I've seen this heartbreaking pattern too many times. A man makes the decision to turn his health around. He starts eating walnuts in the morning, drinks his lemon water, stretches, breathes, even sleeps better. For a week or two, things feel promising. He's getting firmer, waking up with energy, reconnecting with his body. And then, just like that, it fades. Not completely, but noticeably. The fire starts to dim again. When that happens, the first thing I ask is, what are you eating alongside the walnuts? That's where it usually clicks. Because what many men don't realize is that combining a circulation-boosting food like walnuts with processed, sugar-heavy, or chemically altered foods can completely cancel out the benefit. It's like pouring clean spring water into a pipe that's already clogged with syrup. The good can't flow through the mess. Foods like sugary yogurt, frosted cereal, white toast, processed orange juice, and breakfast pastries are some of the biggest offenders. They cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, followed by inflammation that tightens and stiffens your arteries. And guess where that inflammation shows up first? In the smallest vessels, like the ones in your penis. It doesn't matter how many walnuts you eat if you're following them with a blueberry muffin and a caramel latte. Your body is trying to open the gate while your breakfast is slamming it shut. That's why I tell my patients, clean fuel only, natural, whole, unprocessed. Let the walnuts work by giving them space to do their job. And when you give your body that clean slate every morning, you're not just improving blood flow, you're building trust with your system. You're saying, I'm not sabotaging myself anymore. But now that you know what to avoid, let's talk about something even more exciting, how long it actually takes before you start seeing results. And what signs to look for when the change really begins. 9. How long does it take to see results? This is the question every man wants to ask, but sometimes feels hesitant to say out loud. How long until I feel like myself again? And I get it. When you've spent months, sometimes years, feeling disconnected, discouraged, or numb, you want to know that this effort is going somewhere. So let me tell you the truth, based on what I've seen in real men over real time. If you commit to the morning routine, walnuts, hydration, light movement, clean food, you may start noticing subtle changes within the first 7 days. For many men, it starts with something small, slightly firmer mornings, a more energized walk, even improved bathroom flow. It's not dramatic, but it's there, and that matters. By 2 weeks, things tend to pick up speed. I've had men report deeper sleep, fewer mood swings, a sense of alertness they haven't felt in years. You may catch yourself thinking more clearly, standing a little taller, walking with more presence. Your system is beginning to respond. Around the 1-month mark, the real shifts often happen. Morning erections return more consistently, sensation increases, confidence rises, not because of ego, but because something deep inside of you feels reconnected. Like you're not fighting your body anymore, you're working with it. But here's what I always remind my patients. Healing is not a straight line. Some days will feel better than others. That's normal. What matters is consistency, not perfection. You're retraining your body to trust the flow again. And once that flow becomes familiar, you'll start noticing more than just physical changes. Emotional clarity, renewed intimacy, the desire to engage with life again. But before you get too comfortable, I need to warn you, there's something else you should consider. What happens if you stop? What if you slip back into old habits? Let's talk about that next, because the truth might surprise you. 10. What happens if you stop? One of the most common patterns I see in men over 60 is this. They start strong, feel better, gain momentum, and then quietly drift back into old habits. And I understand why. Life gets busy. You travel, you skip a morning, then another. And before you know it, that spark you worked so hard to reignite begins to fade again. But here's the thing most men don't realize. Your body is always responding to the signals you send it. When you give it consistent, natural nourishment, it says, "All right, let's perform." But when you go back to the old routine, sugary breakfasts, no movement, skipped hydration, it hears, "We're done, go back to sleep." And that's when the blood flow slows down again. Erections become less reliable. Your mood dips. You start feeling foggy, tired, withdrawn. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. And because it happens gradually, you might not even connect it to the changes you stopped making. I had one patient, Jack, 72, who told me, "I didn't think skipping a few mornings would matter, but after 10 days, I felt like I'd lost all the ground I'd gained." He was right. That's how fragile circulation can be at this age. The system doesn't want to fail, but it needs your help to stay open, stay alive, stay engaged. This isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm, about respecting the simple things that create real change. You don't need to be extreme, you just need to be consistent. And once you understand that, everything changes. Because now you're not waiting for magic, you're creating it day by day. But restoring the body is only part of the story. There's something deeper that most men don't talk about, the emotional toll of erectile decline, and how reclaiming your function can reconnect you to your dignity, your partner, and your purpose. And that's what I want to explore with you next. 11. From shame to strength. Rebuilding masculinity. After 60. I've sat across from countless men who've quietly carried the weight of something they couldn't talk about. Not to their wives, not to their friends, not even to themselves. The slow decline in function. The distance that grows in the bedroom. The voice in the back of their mind whispering, "Maybe this is just who I am now." I want you to know, you're not alone. And more importantly, that voice is wrong. Your body may have slowed down, but it hasn't given up. It's simply been waiting for you to return. Not with shame, not with fear, but with care, with intention, with the quiet strength of a man who refuses to fade away. When circulation improves, when mornings feel strong again, something powerful happens. It's not just about sex, it's about identity, about dignity, about reclaiming a sense of being rooted in yourself. You feel more engaged in conversation, you laugh more, you stand taller, and your partner? She sees it, she feels it too. I remember one man telling me, "Doc, it's not even about performance anymore. It's about feeling proud again, like I'm still me." That matters, because when a man feels masculine, truly alive in his body, everything around him begins to change. He reconnects with his purpose. His relationships deepen. His days have color again. This journey isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's spiritual. And it's never too late to return to that space of wholeness, one choice at a time, one morning at a time. So now that you've seen how powerful this shift can be, how one nut, one routine, and one decision can change everything, it's time to bring it all together. Let me give you your final prescription: simple steps, daily actions, and the mindset that turns this knowledge into lasting transformation. 12. Final prescription from Dr. Khera. If you were sitting across from me in my clinic right now, this is exactly what I'd tell you. Not a lecture, not a list of rules, just a simple prescription for the man who's ready to feel like himself again. Every morning, within 30 minutes of waking, start with 7 to 10 raw walnut halves. Not coated in sugar or roasted in oil, just clean, natural walnuts. Chew them slowly. Let your body recognize what you're feeding it. Right after that, drink a glass of warm water with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of mineral salt. This helps activate your digestion, hydrate your bloodstream, and support adrenal balance. Then, give your body 5 minutes of gentle movement. Walk, stretch, breathe. You don't need a gym, just a signal to your system that the day has begun. Follow that with a light, clean breakfast. Something like a soft-boiled egg, a few slices of avocado, or some sautéed spinach in olive oil. Keep it simple, whole, and unprocessed. This is the fuel your circulation needs to stay open and responsive. And finally, stay consistent, not perfect, just present. Give your body the same rhythm each morning, and it will respond with strength, with clarity, with a quiet kind of power that builds over time. This prescription isn't about chasing your youth, it's about reclaiming your dignity. It's about stepping back into your masculine self with purpose and confidence. But if you're still wondering whether this small shift can really make a big difference, I want you to hear one final message from me. One truth that has changed the lives of thousands of men I've worked with, and could just be the turning point for you, too. Let's talk about that now. 13. Final thoughts. This is how you come back to life. If you've made it this far, then I know something about you already. You're not the kind of man who gives up easily. Maybe you've been frustrated with your body. Maybe you've quietly carried the weight of not feeling like yourself anymore. Maybe you've even convinced yourself that decline is just a part of getting older. But here's the truth I want you to carry with you today. It's never too late to come back to life. What we've talked about in this video isn't magic. It's not hype. It's biology. It's wisdom. It's the recognition that the male body, especially after 60, is still capable of incredible vitality when we begin treating it with the right kind of care. One simple food like walnuts, when used consistently, can restore blood flow, boost nitric oxide, and help you feel like yourself again. It's not about chasing youth. It's about honoring who you are right now and giving your system the chance to work the way it was meant to. We talked about how your morning meal may be silently damaging blood flow to your penis, how circulation, not just testosterone, is the true foundation of male performance. We explored why walnuts are so powerful, rich in L-arginine, omega-3s, and magnesium. They help open your arteries, energize your brain, protect your heart, and support your prostate. And we looked at how this small daily act fits into a greater rhythm, a morning routine that primes your entire system to wake up, move, and function fully. You met Thomas, who saw his life change by simply following this plan for 2 weeks. You learned the 5 extra benefits of walnuts that go far beyond the bedroom. And you saw the one mistake, adding sugar and processed food to your mornings, that can undo all your progress. We even talked about what happens when you stop. And why consistency, more than anything, is the secret to staying strong and staying well. But perhaps most important of all, we spoke heart to heart about masculinity, about shame, about the silent struggles that many men carry, and about how returning to your body with gentleness and commitment can be the beginning of something truly life-changing. Because this isn't just about erections, it's about identity, it's about self-respect, It's about the quiet joy that comes from feeling like yourself again. I've spent over 30 years helping men just like you, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: you are not broken. You are simply in need of nourishment, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And sometimes, all it takes to begin again is one small step, done with intention. So here's my invitation to you. Start tomorrow morning. Just 7 walnut halves, a glass of lemon water, a stretch, a breath, a choice. And keep making that choice. Because your body will hear you, your circulation will respond, and with time, your strength will return, not just in your muscles or your manhood, but in your heart, your clarity, and your spirit. If this message meant something to you, if it spoke to your experience, your hopes, or your struggles, I ask that you share it. Like this video so the algorithm knows it's helping real people. Leave a comment and tell me what you're going through, because I read every single one. And if you want to support this kind of honest, compassionate content for older men, you can donate using the link below. It helps us keep this mission alive. You're not alone. You're not too old, and you're not done yet. You're just getting started.